Hello, space fans. Welcome to Space Command. My name is Brian, and we are hanging out today, excitedly awaiting the arrival of the Chinese space probe. Well, it's a lander, it's an orbiter, and it's a rover. So we're excitedly waiting for that to arrive at the planet Mars and enter into orbit. So that's pretty exciting. And they will, if successful, China will become the sixth entity to have successfully sent a mission to Mars. And they'll be joining the likes of, well, the United States, of course, and NASA, the Soviet Union, Russia, the European Space Agency, India, and now, as of yesterday, the United Arab Emirates entered into orbit yesterday with their orbiter, and that was successful. That's pretty exciting and awesome. So we're very happy for the UAE, and now we're waiting for China to see if they will duplicate that success. So that's pretty exciting. I got my helper here, Tibby. He's a good boy. He's helping out, and he's a space cat. He is. You can see he's kind of orangish yellow, so he's definitely from Mars, I believe. So that's pretty exciting, right, Tibby? Right, buddy? All right. Well, before we get into all this exciting news about China and whether they successfully make it into orbit, let's talk about some space weather. All right. And I've mentioned this the last few days, but you should be able to see a conjunction with the planet Mars and our moon on February 18th and 19th, just after sunset. The moon is currently in a new moon phase right now. It's a new moon. And then later this month, on February 27th, we're going to see a full moon, which is called, in February, it's always called the snow moon. So, also, the planet Mars has begun to transition into the season of spring, and it's going to spend the next 6 months warming up. And the polar ice cap is going to start to melt. And that polar ice cap, a lot of people think it's composed of water ice, but it's not. It's actually composed of frozen carbon dioxide. And so that's the northern ice cap that's going to start to melt. And frozen carbon dioxide is also known as what? Dry ice. That's right, dry ice. So let's take a look at some Mars weather here. Get my book here. All right. Today on Mars, the date is Sol 3029, and the high temperature is 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Believe it or not, that's actually warmer than it is here today on Earth. The low temperature, negative 101 degrees Fahrenheit. I think we're lucky in that matter that we're here. It feels like negative 101 though, let me tell you. On Mars, it is sunny, and the ultraviolet radiation is high. So the UV index is high. And the wind is 5 miles per hour out of the southwest. The sun rose this morning at 6:41 a.m. and the sun will set at 6:40 p.m. The barometric pressure is 820. So that's what's going on Mars. Also, we had a New Year's Day on Mars was February 7th. That is when Mars gets its new year for its calendar year, and so February 7th is the New Year's date. So that's pretty awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about China. Let's talk about China and this trio of the orbiter, the lander, and the rover that is on its way to Mars. This lander and rover and orbiter, well, the orbiter is called Tianwen-1, and it was launched on July 23rd, 2020, via a Chinese Long March 5 rocket. And Tianwen-1 means heavenly questions in Chinese. And the lander rover combo is supposed to land in the Utopia Planitia region. That is a large basin formed by an impact site. That landing site is actually near NASA's Viking 2 landing site and location, also near the recent NASA InSight landers location. So that's kind of a crowded little impact crater, you know. Now China's having a contest to pick the name of their rover. Like I said, the orbiter is called Tianwen-1. The rover doesn't have a name yet. So for the next 40 days, a public vote from 10 different name choices will be voted on to decide the rover's name. The 10 names that are in contention here are the following. I'll try and pronounce some of this stuff the best I can. I don't know how they came up with these names, but there's 10 different names. So we've got Chinese unicorn, red rabbit, Niha, which is a mythical hero, Spark, we've got Zhurong, which is god of fire, uh, Qxiu, which is a Chinese poem, Zolmang, which means to pursue a dream, uh, Fingulan, which is Niha's weapons, then Tianxing, the motion of celestial bodies, and the most interesting name of all that they came up with was as a choice is Hangul. Hangul means perseverance in Chinese. Um, I find that interesting because NASA's newest rover, which is on its way to Mars as well, is called the Perseverance rover. So what are they trying to do there? Trying to steal the name Perseverance? I'm not sure who came up with that name choice first, whether it was NASA or whether it was China. But anyway, Perseverance or Hongil, and so that's that. The Chinese rover's mission is to analyze surface material composition and characteristics of the Martian climate and the environment on the surface. And then after arrival in Mars orbit, hopefully here in a little bit, Tianwen-1 will spend the next 2 to 3 months preparing for the rover's landing attempt. So basically, it's going to be scanning the crater area, looking for the best possible place to land, where there won't be too many large boulders or whatnot that might interrupt or make a bad landing site for it. So that's pretty interesting. Well, let's check here and see what the status is of the landing. We've got nothing yet. Nothing yet. So we'll check back here periodically throughout this broadcast to see when it actually makes a successful landing. Not yet, though. You know, these missions to Mars are not easy. They're not easy at all. As a matter of fact, there's quite a history of failed missions to Mars by many countries. Let me just go over some of that with you so you get an idea of what we're talking about here. We started trying to send missions to Mars all the way back in 1960, believe it or not. 1960. So it was the Soviet Union that sent the first missions to Mars, or attempted to send the first missions to Mars. To date, we've actually, all the different entities here that have tried, including NASA, Soviet Union, the UAE, all those different countries, there's been an astounding 50 different attempts to send missions to Mars. Only 20 of these missions have been successful. The Soviet Union, Russia, attempted to send the first missions to Mars, like I said, back in 1960, and the Soviets have attempted 19 different missions to Mars. 19! Guess how many of those 19 missions were successful? Anybody? Well, let's see here. Well, looks like Chad's thinks five missions were successful. Anybody else? Any guesses? Well, Sonia thinks 10 of them were successful. Well, no. Let me go ahead and answer the question here. It's one. Only one mission was successful from the Soviet Union to Mars. Can you believe that? That is just mind-boggling. Out of 19 different tries, only one. This was, let's see here. Which one was it? Oh, it was a mission called Mars 3, and it launched on May 28th, 1971. So 1971 was the one and only time that Soviet Union was successful in sending a mission to Mars. NASA, on the other hand, and the United States, we have attempted 23 different missions to Mars, and 16 of those missions were considered successful, and one mission is still en route. So that number may change here in the next few days, or actually it's going to be a little over a week. So we could change that number to say 17 missions were considered successful, and it'd be out of 24. So we have one mission still en route. That's the Perseverance rover, and also the helicopter that's being sent as well. So that's pretty exciting. The European Space Agency successfully sent the Mars Express spacecraft which entered orbit back in 2003. And then they also sent another orbiter in 2016 called the Trace Gas Orbiter. And both of those were successful. Japan has attempted one mission to Mars, which failed to reach Mars orbit. So it actually, the rocket made it into Earth orbit, then it successfully was en route to Mars, but then never was able to make it to Mars orbit. So that was a failure. Then let's see here. Oh, China. Speaking of China, which is what we're here talking about today, China has previously attempted a Mars mission back in 2011. So that was a little while back ago. The spacecraft from China failed to reach Earth orbit. So the rocket failed on launch, and the spacecraft never even made it into Earth's orbit. So it never had a chance to even get en route to Mars. And then India sent a mission to Mars too, and they were successful. They sent a Mars mission back in 2014 called the Mars Orbital Mission, and that was a success. And then, amazingly, one private company has launched and attempted to send a Mars mission back in 2019. Can anybody tell me what private company that was? It was from the United States. Anybody know what private company tried to send a Mars mission back in 2019? Well, let's see. Erica's saying Boeing. Boeing. No, Erica, it wasn't Boeing. Good guess though. Good guess. Well, if you all remember, it was SpaceX. That's right. SpaceX tried to send a Mars mission back in 2019. I'm sure it was pretty fantastic what they tried to do. I'm sure many of you remember Elon Musk's red Tesla, cherry red Tesla Roadster, and he launched that on a Falcon Heavy and sent it on a Mars trajectory. And somebody didn't do their math right. That's why math is so important, you know. They didn't do the math right, and the Roadster overshot the planet Mars. It did not make it into orbit, so that was a failure on that part. So that was kind of a bad deal, but it was really exciting to see that cherry red Tesla Roadster up there orbiting the Earth. It orbited Earth for, I think, around 24 hours before it was sent on its way to try and make it to Mars. So I know you can get on YouTube and look and see some images of that. So that was pretty exciting. Let's see. And then last but not least, the United Arab Emirates just arrived yesterday into Mars orbit and became the 5th entity to be able to successfully send a mission to Mars. So that was really exciting yesterday. I hope you caught the broadcast that we did covering that. So that was pretty awesome. So as you can see, out of 50 different missions that we've tried to send to Mars, it's less than 50. It's less than a 50% success rate. Isn't that crazy? So unfortunately, Mars has a way of outsmarting us more than half the time. More than half the time, I tell you what. Well, let's check here again and see if Tianwen-1 has been able to make it into Mars orbit. Bear with me. Checking. Let's see here. no, nothing yet. Nothing yet on that. So we'll just continue to sit here and discuss China and its space program while we're waiting. Uh, Having to do with this Mars orbiter, lander, and rover, uh, China has recently completed construction over in North China of a giant antenna. This is a giant dish um, covering several acres that is going to assist with the communications with this deep space endeavor to Mars. This is China's first interplanetary mission, if it's successful. A successful mission. Like I said, they tried back in 2011. So Tianwen-1, which is about to reach Mars, and this newly constructed 230-foot diameter dish antenna in the city of Tianjin has been tested, and it's ready to receive data from the spacecraft. You really need something as big as this dish to be able to communicate with these spacecraft from Mars. I mean, this thing is going to be able to get valuable information back to Earth from up to 250 million miles away. So deep space definitely has its challenges on communication. And we've talked about this before, the delay in the communication time between Earth and Mars. It's quite a bit. They started building this antenna back in 2018, and it's a 2,700 ton dish. Can you believe that? And it's hoisted to a height of 236 feet last April. It has 1,328 high precision panels and has an area of 49,000 square feet. That's about 9 basketball courts. Unbelievable. So they just finished it on February 3rd. So they just finished it just in time to be able to receive the communications from their Mars orbiter Tianwen-1. Well, I'm checking here. I'm continually checking here to see if we have any news yet, and we're still waiting. Still waiting. Well, what else can we talk about here with China? You know, they're building a space station. That's pretty exciting. Their space program is really moving along quite a bit. They're not allowed to. They have a manned space program, and their capsules are not allowed to visit the International Space Station. Congress voted on that and made that into law, that China was not to be visiting able to dock with and visit the International Space Station. So they're building their own space station. China also has just completed the design and testing and launch of its newest space capsule, which will carry humans into space to their new space station that they're building. They haven't named this new space capsule yet, but I'll put up a picture here of it. It looks eerily reminiscent of all, most all the space capsules that are in operation today. They've already sent it up into space and tested it, so it looks like it's good to go. The next mission may be a manned mission with it. So Yeah, it was back in May that they successfully sent an uncrewed test flight. Um, it was launched on a Long March 5B rocket from Wenchang on May 5th, which carried out the first uncrewed test for future deep space missions. The crew capsule, when it returned, survived temperatures of around 5,432 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty crazy. It has 459 cubic feet of internal space, so they can have 6 or 7 astronauts inside. Their current spacecraft, the Shenzhou, can only carry 3 different astronauts. Now, it's not all good over there in China's space program. So far, they've had one successful launch of a satellite this year, and then just the other day, they had a failure. And I guess it's a private company. China's company called iSpace failed to reach orbit for the second launch attempt to try and reach orbit for the first time, and the rocket failed. It was a Hyperbola 1 rocket, so it did not make it up into orbit. Well, let's check back in with China Space Agency and see what the status is here. Oh, there we go. Hey, all right. We have something here. Well, it says here the nation's first fully homegrown Mars mission, Tianwen-1, arrived in orbit around the red planet and successfully, and it's communicating back to the Chinese Space Agency. So that's awesome. Well, that makes China officially the 6th entity to get a probe to Mars, joining the United States, Soviet Union, European Space Agency, India, and now the United Arab Emirates. Hey, how about that? That is terrific. Congratulations to China and their space program, and we wish them well. They're gonna, like I said, spend the next 2 to 3 months analyzing the landing site to see where the best location would be at Utopia Planitia to land that baby. And unlike NASA, which is going to arrive, I think, on the 18th of February, and they're going to just go ahead and go straight down and land. They already know where the best site to land is, and they're just going to go ahead and initiate that landing. I think the difference there is that the United States, we have currently several satellites in orbit around Mars, so we already know where the best locations are to land. China, on the other hand, they don't have any spacecraft in orbit until now, so they have not been able to get really close-up views and analyze the best location for a landing. So that's probably why they're going to spend 2 to 3 months doing that. Because they want to end up with a successful mission and get that rover down there to the planet and be able to start their scientific experiments. Some of the science, some of the most exciting science that they're going to be doing is the rover and the orbiter that's going to be in orbit around Mars. They both are equipped with ground penetrating radar. So the rover has ground penetrating radar, and the orbiter has ground penetrating radar that's going to be circling up there above Mars. And they're going to be looking for deposits of water. So they're hoping to find deposits of water at different locations under the surface of Mars. They believe it's there. NASA also believes there's water under the surface. So this may be some groundbreaking science that comes out of this mission. So that's pretty exciting, and we wish them well on that.